r/true off my chest. I broke my girlfriend's laptop out of jealousy, and found wedding photos with another man. I've been holding this in for a few days now because I genuinely don't know how to even begin processing it. My hands are literally shaking as I type, so forgive me if this comes out like a drunken diary entry. I'm not drunk, by the way, just emotionally hungover, if that makes sense. I need to get this off my chest because the inside of my head feels like a pressure cooker. I, 29M, have been with my girlfriend, Lena, 27F, for just over 2 years. We met in the most boring way possible, online dating. I'd love to say it was some magical meet-cute in a bookstore where our hands touched over the same novel, but nah, it was Tinder. She had one of those profiles that didn't try too hard, a couple of cute selfies, one photo of her hiking, and a sarcastic bio that made me laugh out loud, not looking for a pen pal. If you can't handle sarcasm, swipe left. Our first date was coffee at a little place near her work. She showed up late, which I later learned is just a Lena thing. I was going to be annoyed, but the moment she walked in, wearing this oversized sweater and a messy bun, I swear she looked like trouble wrapped in comfort. We ended up talking for hours. She told me about her love for spicy food and terrible reality TV, and I told her about my obsession with building custom keyboards. Fast forward 2 years and we were living together. And for the most part, it was good. We weren't one of those Instagram couples constantly posting #couplegoals crap, but I thought we had our own thing, private jokes, lazy Sundays, and an unspoken agreement that pizza is the ultimate hangover cure. But here's the thing. I've always been a little insecure. Not in the controlling, where were you and who were you with, way, but more in the I overthink small stuff way. And Lena, she's ridiculously attractive. The kind of girl who can walk into a grocery store in sweatpants and still turn heads. So yeah, sometimes I'd get these stupid flashes of jealousy. A few weeks ago, I started noticing something weird. She'd be on her laptop a lot more than usual, like, late into the night, even after we'd both gone to bed. I'd wake up to pee at 2 a.m. and see this faint glow from the living room. When I'd ask what she was doing, she'd just say, work stuff or watching videos. At first, I shrugged it off. But then I noticed she'd quickly close her tabs whenever I walked into the room. It was subtle, but enough to make my gut twist. I told myself not to be that guy, but once you plant a seed of suspicion, it grows into a full-blown paranoia forest. Last Thursday, things came to a head. I came home early from work, surprise for her, you know? And found her in the living room with her laptop on her lap. She didn't hear me come in, and I swear I saw her dragging files into some kind of password-protected folder. The second she realized I was there, she snapped the laptop shut and gave me this tight, forced smile. "Hey, you're home early," she said, in a tone that sounded more like "oh crap" than "yay, you're here." I asked what she was working on, and she mumbled something about a work presentation and went into the kitchen to start dinner. My gut was screaming at me. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I kept replaying her shutting that laptop like she was hiding nuclear launch codes. My brain, being the idiot it is, jumped to the most cliché conclusion: she was talking to someone else. Maybe an ex. Maybe a coworker. The possibilities kept spinning in my head like a slot machine of worst-case scenarios. The next day, she went out to run errands. Her laptop was on the coffee table. I stared at it for a solid 5 minutes, having a full-blown angel/devil on my shoulder moment. Eventually, the devil won. I tried to open it, but it asked for her password. I knew a couple of her go-tos, our anniversary date, her cat's name, that sort of thing, but none of them worked. That's when I noticed it wasn't just locked, the hinge was a little loose. And here's the part where I wish I could say I stopped myself. But I didn't. In this weird, impulsive burst of frustration, I grabbed it, muttered, "Screw it," and slammed it shut harder than I should have. Something inside cracked. The hinge fully gave out, the screen flickered, and the next thing I knew, the display went black. Instant guilt. Like, oh crap, I just broke her property guilt. but mixed into that was another ugly feeling, a grim satisfaction, like, well, now she can't hide whatever's on here. I panicked for a good 10 minutes before deciding I'd try to fix it by plugging it into an external monitor. Maybe I could just take a peek and then act like nothing happened. I hooked it up to my spare monitor in the bedroom, and after a couple of tries, it booted up. No password this time. I guess the crash bypassed her login somehow. Her desktop loaded, and there it was, a folder on her desktop titled Work Docs. It looked innocent enough, but the modification date was from 2 nights ago. My hands were sweating as I clicked it. Inside were subfolders with random labels like Drafts, Invoices, and one called Private. That last one had a little lock icon, but when I double-clicked, it actually opened. I don't know if it was a glitch or what, but suddenly I was staring at a grid of thumbnail images. At first, I thought I was looking at some stock photography or maybe a friend's wedding she'd been to. But as I clicked the first file, the image loaded in full screen, and my entire body went cold. It was Lena. In a white wedding dress. Smiling. Holding a bouquet. Standing next to a man I didn't recognize. And then my screen froze mid-load of the next picture. Part 2, it wasn't just a wedding, it was hers. I just sat there staring at that photo for what felt like forever. My brain was refusing to process what my eyes were seeing. It wasn't a, she wore a white dress to a party, kind of situation. This was a full-on wedding scene. Outdoor venue, flower arch, guests in formal clothes, Lena with her hair done up in this elegant bun I'd never seen before. And the guy next to her? He wasn't some distant cousin or old friend. The way he was holding her waist, the way she was leaning into him, that was husband energy. I clicked to the next photo. Her and this guy kissing. Under the arch. Everyone clapping in the background. It felt like my stomach had been scooped out with an ice cream spoon. I went through more of them. Group shots with friends, the cake cutting, their first dance. The more I clicked, the more my hands shook. There were even shots of her laughing at the reception, wearing his jacket over her dress, like they'd been together forever. And here's the part that really messed with me, judging by the style of the photos, the flowers, and Lena herself, this wasn't years ago. This looked recent. I closed the folder and just sat there in complete silence. My first thought was, is this some kind of joke? A photo shoot? A modeling gig? Lena's not a model, but maybe a friend asked her to pose? But then I remembered, Lena never mentioned knowing a wedding photographer. And also, the emotion on her face in those shots wasn't something you fake for a camera. I checked the file info. My heart rate spiked. The dates on the photos? Just over a year ago. We've been together for 2 years. I felt this wave of nausea hit me so hard I had to sit on the floor for a minute. My chest was tight, and I swear I could hear my own heartbeat in my ears. I don't remember closing everything or even shutting down the laptop. I just know that by the time Lena came home, I was sitting on the couch trying to act like I hadn't just discovered she'd been married to someone else in the middle of our relationship. She walked in with grocery bags, chatting about how the store was out of her favorite cereal. I just stared at her. It felt surreal, like she was a stranger who'd broken into my apartment. "Hey, are you okay? You look pale," she said, setting the bags down. I don't know why, but my brain decided to play dumb. I asked about her day, helped put away groceries, even made small talk. All while my mind was screaming, ask her, ask her, ask her. That night, though, I couldn't sleep. I kept picturing that guy's face. I tried to imagine what their vows sounded like. Did she cry? Did she tell him she loved him forever? And where the hell is he now? By morning, my patience snapped. Over breakfast, I just blurted it out, "Who's the guy in the wedding photos?" She froze mid-bite. Her fork clinked against the plate. What are you talking about?" I stared straight at her. "The wedding photos on your laptop. You. In a dress. Kissing some guy under a flower arch. Who is he?" Her face went through about 5 different expressions in 3 seconds: shock, confusion, panic, something I couldn't name, and then this weird blank calm. "Why were you going through my laptop?" she asked, her voice sharp. "I broke it by accident, tried to fix it with a monitor, and I saw the folder." "Don't change the subject." "Who is he?" She sighed, pushed her plate away, and rubbed her temples like I was the one being unreasonable. "It's complicated," she said finally. "No," I snapped. "It's actually really simple. You either explain it, or I assume the worst." She looked me dead in the eyes and said, "He's my husband." I felt like the floor tilted. "You're what?" "Was my husband," she corrected quickly. "We're not together anymore. It's over." I just stared at her. "When did it end?" She hesitated. "About 8 months ago." My brain did the math instantly. 8 months ago means she was still married for 14 months of our relationship. "So, you were married when we met?" She bit her lip. "Technically, yes. But we were separated. It was complicated. He lived in another city, we weren't in love anymore." I cut her off. "Separated isn't divorced, Lena. You didn't think I deserved to know you had a whole-ass husband while dating me?" She tried to explain, something about the marriage falling apart before we met, about paperwork delays, about not wanting to scare me off. But every word felt like it was coming from someone I didn't know anymore. And the worst part? She didn't even seem that apologetic. More defensive. Like she'd been caught in a white lie, not a betrayal. I couldn't even finish breakfast. I just grabbed my jacket and left. I walked for hours, just looping around the city like a ghost. Every time I tried to picture our relationship, all I could see was her in that wedding dress, smiling at him. By the time I came home, she was gone. No note. Just silence. Later that night, I got a text. "We need to talk when you're calm. Please don't tell anyone yet." That "yet" sent another chill down my spine. Why yet? Part 3, the truth about her husband, and me. I didn't reply to Lena's text that night. Honestly, I didn't trust myself to say anything that wouldn't be nuclear. The next day, she showed up at my place unannounced. I was half asleep, looked like crap, and definitely wasn't in the mood for a heart-to-heart, but she pushed her way in with this "we're doing this now" energy. She sat at the edge of my couch like it was a witness stand. "I owe you the full story," she said. "Yeah, you do," I replied. She took a deep breath. "Okay. Yes, I was married when we met. But we hadn't lived together for almost a year before that. We were basically strangers by then. He's not a good person. I left him after things got bad. Like, really bad." She wouldn't give details, but she hinted at emotional abuse, controlling behavior, and some vague, financial mess he dragged her into. She said they didn't start the divorce right away because she couldn't afford a lawyer, and he was dragging his feet signing anything. "So you just started dating me without telling me?" I asked. "I didn't think you'd want to be involved with someone still technically married," she admitted. "And I didn't want to lose you before you even knew me. I wanted to be angry. I was angry. But there was a part of me that understood how shame makes people hide things. Still. That doesn't explain why you still have all the wedding photos." That's when she looked away. "I couldn't delete them yet," she said quietly. "Not because I miss him. Because I might need them." That made 0 sense to me. Need them for what? Blackmail? Her lips pressed into a thin line. "Evidence. There's a reason I can't tell you everything. The divorce isn't just messy, it's dangerous. He's still in my life in ways I can't control." I stared at her. "So, what, this guy's stalking you?" She hesitated too long. "It's complicated," she repeated, which by now was starting to feel like her catchphrase. I asked if she'd gone to the police. She said no, because she didn't want to escalate things. Which, frankly, is usually code for, there's more to the story than I'm admitting. At this point, my brain was fried. Was she a victim? Was she hiding something worse? She must have read my doubt because she pulled out her phone and scrolled to a photo. It was a screenshot of a text conversation, long rants from an unsaved number calling her every name in the book, threatening her if she went public with something. Is that him? I asked. She nodded. I didn't know what to say. If this was real, she was in a bad situation. But it didn't erase the fact that she'd lied to me for over a year. The rest of the conversation was this weird push and pull of emotions, her trying to convince me she didn't cheat, technically, me trying to convince myself that's even relevant, and both of us dodging the big truth: trust was gone. Finally, I told her, I can't do this anymore. I need space. A lot of it. She didn't fight me. Just nodded, like she'd been expecting it. She left without another word. The next few weeks were strange. I kept thinking about those wedding photos, about the way she looked at him, and wondering if maybe, deep down, she still loved him. Or maybe she just loved who she was back then. Then, one night, I got a DM on Instagram from a username I didn't recognize. No profile picture. It was a single sentence. You don't know the whole story about Lena's wedding. I froze. The next message came before I could respond. Call me. This is her husband. And that's where I'm at now. Phone in my hand, staring at a number that could blow everything wide open, or pull me into a mess I'll regret for the rest of my life.